Hey guys, so we have the details for Goku and Gohan. The data download has hit. We can take a look at their stats and abilities in game here. The one thing they did not post on the official website yesterday was their ultimate arts details. So we'll take a look at those, but for the most part, we did go through what these characters do in our breakdown video yesterday. So if you want to see an in-depth breakdown on these characters, go check that one out. I guess we'll start with Goku. We also get to see their stats. These are not Legends Limited characters. These are not Ultra characters, so I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with these stats, but based off of like the starting abilities that these guys have, they almost seem like they're balanced to be Ultras, or sorry, balanced to be LFs, but they're just not designated as LF characters, as Legends Limited characters, because they are collab characters, that kind of like collab slash special commemorative characters. All right, this guy is a melee type. Let's go ahead and see what he's working with here. Wow. Okay, so they really went all in on the strike here. So factoring in title boosts, factoring out arts boosts, he is going to be, I mean, that's mid to high 260s. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have like 266, 267,000 strike attack. This guy being a strike character, that does work. It does work. The only negative, I guess, with this is, number one, his defenses are a little low. I wouldn't really call these super low because he's going to be just around 170 to both. It's not horrible. It's not great. The Gohan is blast-based. And I actually think the Gohan is going to be, like, super blast-based. And what I mean by that is his stats. I think this Gohan stats are going to just be the opposite of this. I think the Gohan is going to have pretty much just the reverse. He's going to have like the 274 blast and 251 strike. He creates blast cards and he draws blast cards guaranteed. So he's like a super, super heavy blast character. But these are good stats for this Goku. His health is a little low, actually. His health is low. Overall, I think it's okay. High strike, which is what this guy wants to do. Normal strike and block. Okay, he didn't give him any like special cards here. Okay. He's on Sun Family Saiyan and then DB. And then they have a special episode here, Dragon Ball 40th Anniversary, which I guess could matter. So next week, we're going to be getting the co-op season. I guess it could be a thing where they give us a co-op equip that like requires you have a Dragon Ball 40th Anniversary character. I don't know. Maybe they can't even do that because there's no free-to-play version of a character with that episode. But I guess maybe at some point it might be relevant. I doubt it. But DB is the big one. Them putting this Goku and the Gohan both on the DB tag means that they at least have like a really solid equipment lineup for just being ran on that team. And then, of course, we have Kid Goku's equip. The only problem with Kid Goku's equip, I'll talk about this later, is it's not coming out this week. All right. This Goku gets I didn't even realize he had blast armor on his strike cards. I don't think it mentioned this, right? Did it not mention this? I don't think it, maybe I just missed it. This is pretty big. I was assuming this guy didn't have blast armor on his strike cards, which does matter. You take a look at some of these characters, like 13 not having blast armor in base actually matters a lot. The Gamma is not having blast armor matters. Like, you don't really think of blast armor on strikes as kind of like this big important thing because it's almost like assumed that you're going to have this. But when you don't have it, I think it's pretty noticeable. So the fact that he does have this is nice. This is pretty good, but the green card to me is what really, I think, makes this character above and beyond what we were expecting here. The second ability. So first, he draws a blue card whenever he uses a green. And the reverse... Hold on. The way it works is Gohan draws a green whenever he uses a blue, and then Goku draws a blue whenever he uses a green. So you can kind of like infinitely loop that together if you want to try and do that. But this random effect is actually really, really powerful. He randomly either gains one Dragon Ball, gets 50% damage guard penetration, or he gets type neutrality offensively for 5 counts. They're all really good, right? I tend to not like a lot of randomness in this game. But with this effect, because they're all really strong, I don't really have a huge problem with this. Obviously, depending on the situation you're in, you might want one of these effects over the other. Like if you're going up against if you're up against like Fusion Zamasu, Purple Fusion Zamasu, you're going to want type neutrality probably more often than not. But I think for the most part, these are all really good. So, you know, no matter which one you get, you're looking pretty good. Let's see what his ultimate does. Massive damage on activation, ultimate damage plus 40%, nullifies nerfs. Okay, good. They gave him endurance null. I was kind of thinking maybe they wouldn't do that. On hit, enemy key menace 100. Okay, yeah, this seems pretty basic, but it's probably good enough. Gets all his whole vanish back on main ability. This guy gets his vanish back twice when he vanishes. Where is this listed here? On vanishing step, vanish gauge plus 80%. That essentially is just 100% because it takes into consideration the travel time from the actual vanish animation, which by the time the animation is over, it does recover your full vanish. So same thing as Blue 17 with his full gauge up. He is stacking strike damage here. He has a really strong starter ability. This is what I'm talking about by him being like a pseudo LF character. 290% damage, 210% damage guard, 90% key recovery, draw speed, Dragon Ball protection for 40 counts, and then he has like the built-in sub count -1 for all Dragon Ball characters. And then also per other DB battle member, damage plus 15%, damage guard plus 10%. So you want to run him on a full DB setup, which is why I think it's really important that Kid Goku gets his equip. But unfortunately, it's not this week, so you can't run this guy really on his like optimal team, which sucks because you'd want to run him on his optimal team the day he drops, but you can't. But yeah, really high numbers for the starter ability. Obviously, this guy's going to be on featured boost. And I guess the one thing to mention about that is they recently changed the way featured boost works, where LF characters get an additional buff to their base stats and HP in the featured boost. But because this guy's not a Legends Limited character, he's actually not going to be receiving the extra benefits of that buff. So this guy's just going to be getting the basic effects of the featured boost here. All right, let's take a look at Gohan real quick. This guy is a support type. Let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, okay, so they did exactly the thing I was thinking they would do, which is just essentially swap the offensive stats with Goku. So this guy is much more of a blast character. I mean, it's very obvious when you read his kit. He's drawing a blast on entry. He has the blue Vegito Blue mechanic where he's drawing a blast. So Vegito Blue has the strike version, but this guy is drawing a blast whenever he uses a blast twice, every time he enters the battlefield. So this guy is like super, super blast-centric, which is my slight concern, considering that you want to run these guys both together, and one is a super heavy strike character, one is a super heavy blast character. But I think on a team like DB, where you have access to such powerful equips, which buff both stats, right? Most of the equips on DB, if you actually look at the equipment options, they're buffing like both blast and strike attacks. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. Plus the bench you're going to want to run for this team is going to be like Launch and Yamcha, who are, you know, Launch is a blast buffer, Yamcha is a strike buffer. So it kind of works okay, I think. But it is kind of an interesting like mix / hybridish offensive team for strike and blast cards. Good defenses in this guy. This is much better than Goku's defenses. Lower offenses though, but better defenses for sure. Okay, so Gohan, for some reason, I guess because he's a hybrid Saiyan, he has actual cards here. On hit, enemy blast damage received plus 20%, blast damage plus 20% on use. Okay, so he's got like an extra buff on there. On hit, enemy blast damage received plus 10%, and then he restores his vanish gauge on the blast card. Yeah, like I said, the blue card on Gohan does draw green every single time, so you can kind of flip-flop between this and Goku and just draw the other card. This guy has enhancements to his cards. So you'll see it says also when special move arts is enhanced for the blue card, and then the green card also has the same thing as well. You enhance this by cover changing with an ally, which is obviously very easy to do most of the time, so you can have that effect up. Again, not that difficult to do. Let's take a look at his ult here. So massive damage, explode on activation, draws up to 4 cards. Ultimate damage plus 30%. Also per blast arts in hand. Ultimate damage plus 30%. Critical rate plus 15%. So if you have 3 blasts in your hand, you're getting 90% ultimate damage here. And 45% critical rate. That's good. So you're going to have a total of 120% ultimate damage if you have a full hand of blasts besides the ultimate. Actually, I wonder how this works, because it says on activation draws up to 4 cards. I assume that the buff that you get per blast card in your hand activates when, like, the instant you use the ultimate. So it probably doesn't take into consideration the cards you draw from using the ultimate. Like, I'm just imagining if you have just the ultimate in your hand. Let's just think about this for a second. If you just have the ultimate in your hand, and that's the only card in your hand, and you press the ultimate, and then you draw 4 cards, and they all happen to be blast cards, do you get 120% ultimate damage there? I doubt it, but I guess that could be pretty. That could be pretty interesting if that's how it works. And then you'd also get 60% critical rate on that as well. The only thing about this is this doesn't nullify endurance, which a little bit questionable in 2025, almost 2026, but it's decent. I think it's a hand reload is always valuable. But I definitely want to see if that's how this works when we test this guy out later. This guy has a team heal. He is destroying the enemy hand, lowering their ki. Same exact effect that Ultra Namek Goku has. He also guaranteed draws a green with this. So this is actually the same effect as Ultra Corrupted Fusion Zamasu, is where he destroys 2 cards to draw a green and his ult. Starter ability is really good. So he actually has the same effect as Goku, where DB subcounts on switch -1. So actually the entire team is going to have -2 to subcounts. And then also Gohan basically has like a mini, well, I don't even know if I want to call it a mini Krillin effect here. It's kind of like identical to Krillin, but he's got a little bit of an extra ki recovery buff here as well. For Hybrid Saiyans and DB, 40% damage, 10% damage guard, 20% health restoration, and then ki recovery plus 40%. The interesting thing about this guy, I think, is really, I guess, this part. I mean, it's like, oh, his entire unique ability, but like everything works together really well here. He draws a blast on entry guaranteed, okay? And then when he uses the blast, I guess it's on hit technically, but I guess we should go over this first. So he gets Cover Null. This is his Cover Null condition. On strike/blast arts hit, he gets Cover Null, which typically is not very good, right? You don't want to have to connect with a card to then get the ability that lets you connect with cards, right? That doesn't make any sense from a game design standpoint. The reason why this isn't a big issue with this character is because he does already have pseudo Cover Null in his entry ability here, which is increasing enemy subcounts by 2. So because he has that, he can freely land a blast on entry, which is then going to give him Cover Null and allow him to draw 2 more blast cards. So he's spamming blast cards. Every time he lands, or I guess every time he draws a blast card, he's reducing ally subcount by 1 up to twice, and he's getting more damage. So you have -1 to switch counts here. You have -1 to switch counts from the Goku starter ability. And then now you also have -1 to switch counts from drawing 2 blasts here. So you technically are going to enter the battlefield with this character, and you're lowering ally subcounts, for all intents and purposes, practically speaking, by 4, which is really insane. That is really, really good. Something else to mention as well is on ally cover change, ally health plus 5%. This seems very crazy to me. So we have a lot of different teams right now, a lot of different characters that heal the entire team whenever they swap out, right? We have 13 who does that. We have Krillin who does that. We have the purple Super Saiyan 3 Goku who does that. We have the Zenkai GT Universal Spirit Bomb Goku who does that. So we're kind of entering this phase of the game where, you know, they mentioned in their new design philosophy newsletter back in March, we don't want this homogenization of abilities across the board where like all these characters kind of have the same mechanics. It kind of does feel like we're heading back to that place already, even less than a year later. And I think this is one of those mechanics that really just feels like we're getting to the point where it's like if you don't have this mechanic on your team, it's just you feel a lot more exposed than if you did have it. So not only does Gohan have this too, but Goku is also healing the entire team on swap out. And now we're pairing this up with Gohan, who not only is healing the entire team when he swaps out to an ally cover changing, but every single time you cover change with a character on your team, you are healing the team. So it's you know, we'll see. And also don't forget that pairs up with the health restoration buff from his unique abilities. So we'll see. There's going to be a lot of healing on this team. There's going to be a lot of subcount manipulation. There's going to be healing all over the place. So pair that up with the ridiculous damage guard numbers you see, right? This guy has 220%. He's giving 10% support here. We've got decent disrupt on this team. We got the most ridiculous. DB has the best equips in the game. And there's no arguing. DB has the best equips. So we got like the ridiculous equips across the board. We're actually going to be able to Zenkai buff the team fully with the setup that we have here. So we'll see. This team might be very tough to kill. The only problem is they have no second life mechanic until Kid Goku gets his unique equipment, which I guess we can just talk about right now. For whatever reason, this current PvP season is 3 weeks long. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. It would have made a lot more sense if they just lined everything up with this week. If they're going to drop these characters today, the new PvP season should have started today, which means we would have gotten a new PvP equip, which means we also probably would have gotten Kid Goku's unique equip to drop today, which means we probably also would have had co-op reset today, which means we would have also had Ultra Space Time Rush reset today. I think lining these things up for one big reset day when you drop new characters makes sense. I actually don't really care if Ultra Space Time Rush resets next week. It's fine. But Kid Goku really is like the designated third character you want to run on this team. And they even mentioned this in the video. They said, you know, we're going to give Kid Goku an equip. He works really well with these characters in terms of color and in terms of his ability because he is indestructible. And like I just mentioned, neither of these characters have a second life mechanic, which you basically just need on a team to be considered a competent team. That's why Future Gohan Zenkaiing was really good for Future, because Future up until that point had no second life character. Like they wanted you to run green Zamasu Zenkai character, which, you know, I guess you could, but you'd have no second life mechanics, so you just get rushed, right? So that's a big issue with this team right now. I think they really should have dropped Kid Goku's equip today so that we could have at least ran him next to these characters. In the meantime, we're going to have to kind of make up some like makeshift Sun Family team, hybrid team, Saiyan team, whatever. I'm probably not even going to do a DB showcase. That's not true. The initial showcases I'm probably going to do are Sun Family for Goku and hybrids for Gohan. And then probably like when we get to the arts boosted videos for both of them, I'll probably put them on DB, but it's just... DB is just not a team, right? It's not a team until we get a competent third character that has a second life mechanic, and the only one that has that is Kid Goku. That's why they gave Kid Goku the unique equip, right? They didn't give DKP the unique equip this time because DKP is not going to work as well with these units. And we already really do have a very strong purple powerful opponent character running around right now, Fusion Zamasu. So I think giving Kid Goku the equip makes the most sense, but they should have just dropped it today so that we could at least use these guys next to Kid Goku on their optimal setup instead of waiting an entire week for that to drop. It doesn't make any sense. Regardless, I don't think we actually have any equips today, right? There's no PvP reset. There's no co-op reset. There's no Ultra Space Time Rush reset. Kid Goku's equip doesn't come out today, so I don't think we're actually getting any equips. Let's just quickly double check. Let's see. Any equips? Any equips? Any equips? Any equips at all? By the way, I'm out of equipment space. Like, literally, I'm out. I am 100% out of equipment space. Okay, so no equips this week, which, again, not surprising. I am down to 4 equipment slots. Please, if there's a god in this universe, drop equipment space. Please, please. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I think we also do have some new events dropping. I saw, like, a tower event is dropping. There's, like, some events that we need to clear to collect the manga items, which you get a lot of CC and rewards for doing. So this is a pretty cool celebration. I just think maybe the scheduling could have been handled a little bit better, but you guys can let me know down below what you think of the characters. We will be summoning, we'll be showcasing, and all that good stuff later today. I'll do a Should You Summon video because the format of the banner is going to be different as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one.